The topic of our presentation is inflation, and these are the names in my group. First of all, we'll talk about what is inflation. The term inflation appeared in America in the mid-19th century, not in reference to something that happens in the prices, but as something that happens to paper currency. However, we use inflation to explain the increase in the general price level. The definition. Inflation is the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. A quantitative estimate of the rate at which the decline in purchasing power occurs can be reflected in the increase of an average price level of a basket of selected goods and services in an economy over some period of time. The rise in the general level of prices, often expressed as percentage, means that a unit of a currency effectively buys less than it did in prior periods. And these are some related concepts of inflation. Deflation is a fall in the general price level. Disinflation is a decrease in the rate of inflation. And hyperinflation is an out-of-control inflationary spiral. And reflection is to rise the general level of prices to counteract the deflation. And there are some more specific forms of inflation in the specific field. For example, price level inflation applies to changes in the price, housing price, and energy inflation is dominated by the cost of oil and gas. And we will talk about how to measure inflation. Everyone has different spending habits. Some might have car and e-meat. Others might travel with public transportation. The average spending habits for everyone determines how much when the different products and services have in the measurement of inflation. For measuring inflation, all goods and services that household consume is taken into account, include everyday items like food, newspapers, durable goods such as clothing, PCs, and washing machines, and services such as makeup, insurance, and rental housing. Then we will have a consumer price index, as known as CPI. CPI is a measure that examines the wide average of price of a basket of consumer goods and services. It is calculated by taking price changes of each item in the basket of goods and average them. And this is the inflation formula. The rate of inflation is equal to the CPI of the current year minus the CPI of the last year or the best year and divided by the CPI of the best year. And this is my presentation.